Hi guys, hello. I'm back. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday. Yeah, as I said, I would try to get here today. I know I did my streaming schedule a little unconventionally this week. I stream usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays now. But yesterday I streamed because I wasn't able to stream on Friday. I had a really bad headache, so I'm here now. Hi everyone. Hello. So we're gonna read some Reddit stories. We're probably gonna read some roommate Reddit horror stories. Those are fun to read. And I'll be on here for like no more than an hour probably, and then we'll close things out. And I'll see you guys again on Tuesday. I have no idea what games to play. I have a few games in tow, but I don't really feel like playing them. Like a couple of Telltale games, but the last Telltale game I played before Dispatch wasn't that good. Um, it was the Man of Medan series. It was just kind of, I don't know, like a lesser quality Telltale, The Quarry, Until Dawn type of game. And honestly, those Until Dawn games, those Telltale games, they only work in long form for bigger consoles, like for PC or for like PlayStation. That's when they only truly work. Well, if it's like a mini like series, like Man of Medan, where it's a shorter gameplay and you're trying to work on making sure everybody survives the night, I don't know, it's just more boring to me, in my opinion. I liked The Quarry a little bit better. And I finished Dispatch, and I really, really liked Dispatch. Dispatch was very good. I had like a couple criticisms about Dispatch, but nothing like too intense. Overall, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, honestly. Um, so there's that. So yeah, I guess I will get started in reading. I don't have any like fleeting topics that I really want to talk about yet. Um, yeah, yeah, I was gonna talk about some hair stuff, but I don't think I really care that much, honestly. I found out that Kenya Moore, the Miss America of 1993, I think, or Kenya Moore. Trying to figure out what year she was Miss USA from 1993. Okay. I don't know what the difference is between Miss USA and Miss America. What's the difference between Miss USA and Miss America? Okay. But yeah, she was Miss USA in 1993, a year before I was born. Yeah, apparently she wears like green eye contact lenses. And I really thought for a second, like I genuinely thought for a second that that was her natural eye color. And I'll show you guys a picture of Kenya Moore real quickly. But let's see. Let's click on USA Today. Okay, Miss USA 101. The USA franchise was acquired by former Miss USA Crystal Stewart in 2020. Stewart, the franchise's first African American president, told Reno Gazette Journal, part of USA Today Network, that the organization seeks to redefine the focus pageantry to reflect the current issues. The Miss USA 2022 contest also marks the pageant's first competition since the uh, DEATH of Miss USA 2019. Chesley, Christ, I remember when this happened. No offense, I really do think that a lot of these pageants, I don't know, after all this stuff has come out about like elite people trafficking folks, I don't know. I just feel like that's a cover up for that sometimes. I'm not saying, okay, so allegedly, I'm going to put allegedly out there, but I'm not saying that Miss USA is like a human trafficking ring, but I'm saying that like it's a pipeline that could get you there, if you're not careful. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, Miss USA got its start thanks to the defiance of an Alabama woman named Yolande Betbezy. Bedbizi, who had been educated in a convent school, won Miss America in 1950. Due to her conservative background, Bedbizi refused to pose in a swimsuit after she won the title, which was a problem for one of Miss America's big sponsors was Catalina Swimwear. The Miss America pageant organizers, under the pressure of Catalina, urged Bedbizi to reconsider, but she refused and held her ground. As a result, an enraged Catalina went off and started competing in an event, and thus Miss USA was born. Okay. So Miss USA sprouted from Miss America, launched its first pageant in 1952 in Long Beach, California. Okay, so those are two different things. All right, so I'm going to show you what Kenya Moore looks like. I thought she was like so pretty, like 90s pretty, you know what I mean? The women in the 90s were just gorgeous. Okay, so this is Kenya Moore from like the 90s. She won Miss USA in 1993, and she's always been like a really gorgeous woman. After she won Miss USA in 1993, you saw a lot of cameos of her in different shows. She did The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think she was dating like Will. She was also in Girlfriends, so she had a lot of cameos um as a Miss USA contestant. She also did a lot of like swimsuit modeling as well, so it really was good exposure for her. And she always just was very poised and classy and beautiful, but then she joined the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then she had like this villain role, and she was like terrorizing the folks on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then she got fired from RHOA because she had a genitalia picture with one of the wives, or one of the cast members from RHOA, like doing stuff to her genitalia. She had that as a picture for her Kenya Moore hair care hair spa, I guess. There's a hair spa here in Atlanta where you can get your hair done, and she has hair products and all that good stuff. I'm so sorry. I hate to be really problematic, but her foundation does not match her body. But I'm not like too picky about that, because I know that makeup was way, way different then than it is now. So I'm not going to be too picky about that. But like, yeah, this really washes her out. But anyway, so she got fired from RHOA because that's basically revenge corn. That's revenge corn, and it is not the it's not the early aughts anymore. You can't get away with posting revenge corn, especially on like national syndicated like television. Like you can't do that anymore now. Maybe you could get away with that on Zeus Network. You can't get away with that on Bravo. So she got fired. But like this whole time I really did think that she had like really like colorful eyes, like gray eyes or something, right? And that's just not the truth. She's been wearing contacts this whole time. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know why you would. Well, I could see why, like on some self-hatred stuff, like I could see why a person of color would want to wear colored contacts. But it's just so weird. Like it's okay to have dark eyes. Like I have dark eyes. Like you cannot see my pupils or anything, and I've just kind of learned to live with it, and I think it's okay. I think we're going to be okay. You don't have to wear eye contacts. She was also friends with Tyra Banks, I think. Yeah, they were like really close girlfriends, so there was that. They were so fine back in the day. They're fine now, but they were just like so innocent. Um, and I don't know, it's just something about like 90s, early 2000s beauty. If people were getting work done, and they probably were, right? They made an effort to try and look at like themselves at the very least. Again, with the ashy foundation. You see this? That must have been a common phenomenon in the 90s, bro, with this ashy foundation. Mm-mm-mm. We've come a long way. Everybody say thank you, Fenty Beauty. Technically, thank you, Makeup Forever. I think Makeup Forever or Estee Lauder. Fenty Beauty was the first beauty line to come out with all inclusive 50/40 foundation shades. It was the first beauty line that had a well-known celebrity at the face of it, and the founder of it, that was having all these inclusive foundation shades. Like, I need people to understand that, okay? Because when Rihanna dropped Fenty Beauty and it came out that there was going to be like 40 to 50 all inclusive foundation shades, right? Everyone was like, whoa, she's the first to do that. Oh my God, no one's ever done that before. And then it sparked all this controversy post Fenty Beauty of why some of these makeup brands are not including or having more like shade ranges for foundation, right? But like there were makeup brands before Fenty Beauty. I remember Makeup Forever had a lot of foundation shades. I'm pretty sure MAC, shout out to MAC, I love me some MAC. MAC had a lot of foundation shades too. We also had um Estee Lauder. I just said Estee Lauder. Yeah, and they were around for a very, very long time before Fenty Beauty was a thing. So, but yeah, we've come a long way in beauty because that should not have happened at all. Them looking ashy in the face in the 90s should have not have been a thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. We've come so far. But yeah, anyway, yeah, that the gray contacts that Kenya Moore wears, that's not her. Well, they're contacts. That's not her natural hair. And that's annoying. So, but I always liked Kenya Moore. She always looks good, even in the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She always looked very, very, very good. Um, Even like as old as she is now, like I'm pretty sure she's like 60 now. 55. She's 55. Yeah, she looks great. Yeah, I'm trying to be a gilf. I'm trying to be a milf and a gilf. Okay. That's absolutely what I'm trying to do. Okay. I'm trying to look like a real housewife of Atlanta. Oh my God. And shout out to the women who have kids like later in life. Like, shout out to you. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. And there's a lot more women now that are having kids like in their 40s and in their 50s, and there are studies coming out now that basically say that a woman, if she's still like fertile, she can produce like really healthy babies. It's really the sperm that affects the health of the baby. So if the male doesn't have a healthy sperm, then the baby isn't going to be healthy. It never was the woman. It never depended on the woman's age. So, yeah. But yeah, Kenya Moore, very beautiful. Very beautiful woman. Okay, so let's get into some Reddit stories. Let's get into some Reddit stories. Hold on, let me show you this picture real quick of Kenya. Am I gonna find it? Here we go, here we go, here we go. Hold on. She looks phenomenal. That's how I'm trying to look when I'm 55. I'm not even lying. I am trying to look exactly like this between Portia Williams and Kenya Moore, except like a little bit more vampire, like giving Morticia Adams. That's how I'm trying to look when I'm 55 years old. All right, but I gotta put in the work now. Gotta eat healthy. Um, gotta do good skincare. All right, let's get into some Reddit nonsense. Okay, so we're gonna read about bad roommates. This one is about, oh, not the dog breed one, no. I want to read the one about the roommate wants my cat because I think this is hilarious. Roommates are so problematic sometimes, and I think it's so unfortunate that we live in a timeline where even after you leave the home, even after you leave the nest, you are still probably going to have some type of version of a roommate for a significant chunk of your adulthood. Gone are the days where, you get a job where you can make just enough to at least cover most of your rent and your bills and all of that. Like, everybody needs a roommate now, and the prices just keep getting more and more expensive. So it's really unfortunate that this happens. And then you also have to think about, if you do have a roommate, you have to like really think about how you don't know this person. Like, you really don't know this person. Even if you do get a background check, they literally can just snap tomorrow. That scares the hell out of me. Like, oh my God. Thank goodness I've always had roommates that were very cool, very chill. I felt very safe by. There weren't any really like super bad vibes. But I even think about college too. I think about this one case with these roommates, and one of the roommates was assaulted by the other roommate's boyfriend. And so that roommate went to go tell the other one. And then that roommate with the boyfriend went to go tell the boyfriend, and they plotted to unalive the other roommate that said she got assaulted by the boyfriend. Yeah. Like crazy dumb shit. This happened like in Atlanta too. Like how do you? And it's so crazy because like when you talk about like decentering romance, no matter what gender, men, women, like whatever, right? People, decentering romance and romantic love, right? And just like the passion you can get into when you're in your like early 20s and you're experiencing that feeling of love and romance for the first time to that standard, right? It's just like she threw away her whole entire life for a dusty dude. I'm pretty sure he's in jail too. But and again, this could have all been avoided if they weren't roommates. Like, jeez. And what's sad is there really is going to be another person out there. Like, that guy, if he's sleeping with, if he's assaulting your roommate, then you know he's not the one. He's not the one. But anyway, roommate wants my cat. Let's read it. Hey guys, I'm about to lose my ish right now. My roomie and I, 22-year-old females, have lived together for almost 3 years. We both grew up in homes with lots of pets and were bummed when we moved into our place and suddenly had no furry friends to keep us company, but decided not to get a shared pet name at the time because money was tight and the space was small. 3 months ago, my coworker gave me a cat. Rumi and I have had a very serious sit down and established that since he was mine, I would pay for everything in relation to him: food, toys, vet fees, pet deposits, etc. The only thing she has paid for was a singular vet visit that she made without telling me and would not accept my repayment. This brings us to the last month. One day, I came home from work to her room being empty. She texted me later that day to say that she had quit her job and moved in with her boyfriend of a month because he offered to take care of her. What are we doing? What are we doing? You don't know this man. You don't know this man. Which, okay, not cool, but not exactly out of character for her. So I just went on with life. We had a sit down a few days after where she offered to keep paying her half of the rent while I found a new place. Okay, that's good. Honestly, I was expecting worse, so I thanked her for the generosity and moved on with catching up. When I told her about a few pet friendly places I had been looking at in town, she got all giddy and told me not to worry about it because she was going to be taking my cat. The very same cat she has never once done any care for besides the single vet visit. Not that she was expected to, but my point still stands. I told her in no uncertain terms that my cat and that was my cat and she was not to take him anywhere. Her response was very much, yeah, sure, whatever you say. Now she keeps bringing her boyfriend over to the apartment to get the kitty used to his new papa. I'm terrified that one day I'm going to come home from work and he's going to be gone. That little dude is my baby. When I'm home, he is Velcro to my side 24/7. I haven't had a moment of peace in 3 months and I wouldn't have it any other way. He never hung out with the roomie, and when she was home, unless I was out or my door was shut. I get that she's lonely when her boyfriend is at work, but damn. I would just bring the cat to work. I would, what are they, dog sitting or those doggy daycares? I would just put the cat in doggy daycare and be like, no, bitch, this is my cat, not yours. And my cat is going to go with me everywhere. You are not stealing my cat. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird. And then what's even goofier about the roommate is why on earth would I don't think it's a good idea to move in with someone after like knowing them for a couple months or after knowing them for about a month. That's not a good idea. I've talked with people for a very long time, people that I've dated for a very long time, and we've like courted before we decided to like make that move. Like I just don't think this is a good idea. But hey, just as long as she keeps the cat by her side, I don't think there's going to be too much of a problem. Oh, stream settings. Oh, no. My stream settings on YouTube are private. I always forget that. Dang. Okay, let's make it public. Done. Okay. Now people can come in. Yikes. Oh, I hate when my stream settings are always set to private. Make sure she didn't microchip the cat to herself at the vet appointment, or you could be out of luck, to be honest. Also, get a letter from a coworker that you adopted a cat from them. A letter from the coworker that says they relinquished their ownership to you. I have experience with this. Do it, OP. Okay, that's a good idea. Microchip that cat, send an email or text stating she is not to take the cat and that is your cat. Change the locks. Honestly, I would put the cat in like pet daycare. They have to have a cat daycare. Let me look it up real quick. See if they have a cat daycare. They have to. Bark and Board, Camp Kitty. So this is in Atlanta. Camp Kitty. It's all we do. Cats are unique individuals and they require care from humans to get that. When you board your cat at Camp Kitty, you'll rest easy knowing that we treat every animal like they are our own. Our beautiful and modern boarding facility is the only one of a kind in the Atlanta metro area, making us the obvious choice for your kittens. Yes. Put that bitch in Camp Kitty. Yes, 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 yes. And just keep your cat close to you and then get that notice in writing from your coworker saying that she relinquishes the cat to you. Yes. I want a pet so badly. I do. See, okay, so sidebar. I'm on my Snark account. I'm on, okay, Smurf Snark account. I'm on like the Boston Terrier subreddit because I think Boston Terriers are the cutest things ever. They're like cute ugly to me. Like just like fugly, but like in a cute way. um but I don't know if I want ew, what? Girl, no. Um but I don't know if I want a Boston Terrier or a dog or if I want like a cat. You know, I feel like I'd be more of a cat lady. I'm definitely a cat lady. Oh my god, I can't wait to be like 40 with like 12 cats. All right, so my roommate poops himself and walks around with stains all over. New roommate is causing some serious anxiety and health concerns. He walks around with shit stains on his pants, sometimes the front, which means he rolls in it in his sleep. IDK, but these aren't even small oopsie poop stains. This is like full on shit yourself stains. I did address him 2 months ago because it was a literal biohazard and he seems embarrassed, but then does it every other day. I had to ask him to clean the feces off the floor behind. Like, this shit isn't normal. This isn't normal. Do I kick him out for being shitty? Literally, I'm losing my mind. Please don't tell me this is true. I don't think this is true. I don't think this is true. I do know that when people have depression, they sometimes forget to bathe. So maybe that's like one concern, you know, maybe that might be what's going on. And then I remember watching Euphoria and Rue was like so depressed that she could not get out of bed that she gave herself a kidney infection because she just didn't want to pee. um I don't know if that's true, if people like forgo using the bathroom because of how depressed they are. But I don't know, like shitting yourself is crazy. Is this serious, brother? This is a biohazard and the most wild thing I've heard on here. This isn't a bad roommate. This guy is not mentally or physically stable. This can't be real. Oh my God. Sounds like he may have serious mental health, medical issues. You need to have him leave ASAP. That would be the best thing to do. If you really care about this person, you may want to sit down and have an uncomfortable but important conversation and ask if there is a reason for this continuing to happen and if there are any steps you can take for this not to happen again. This is just really gross and crossing a line. You could get really ill. Yeah, it is really gross. Sounds like he needs to be constantly reminded and it's not your place to do it, but living with him is not sanitary. He needs to go. Yeah. If that's your place, he needs to be kicked out. My roommate moved her boyfriend into the flat and it's making everyone uncomfortable. Oh no. Ooh, this is a long one. Okay, so I'm a 19-year-old female international student in the UK living in university accommodation with 6 other people. At the beginning of the year, we were all really close and hung out a lot, but over time, we naturally drifted apart. We were still generally chill with each other, though. One of my roommates, 19-year-old woman, broke up with her boyfriend of 3 years right before coming to uni and has been constantly dating since. Normally that wouldn't be my business, but early on she made one of our other roommates, 20 male, really uncomfortable by hitting on him constantly right after meeting him and right after her breakup. He said she would hug and touch him a lot and sometimes act drunk while doing it. Ew. Creepy. About a week later, she met a guy on Tinder, I'll call him Jay, and started bringing him over. At first, none of us cared, but now it's been a week and he's basically hasn't left the flat. They spend hours in the kitchen using multiple hobs to cook. Hobs? What are hobs? What hobs? What are hobs? Hobbs UK. Urban Dictionary. What does the British term hob mean? Oh, the stovetop. To cook while the rest of us sometimes have to text and wait until they're done just to make food. They'll also sit in the kitchen for hours watching movies, cuddling, and making out on the couch, which makes the shared space uncomfortable. I bet. I'm not a PDA girl. I'm not a PDA girl. I'm very much so. Can you put like Bring that elsewhere. Bring that to the bedroom. I don't want to see y'all snogging on the couch. That's also a UK term, snogging. Okay. We've already talked to her about not treating the kitchen like their private living room, and she agreed, but nothing has changed. On top of that, they constantly leave mess behind. There are often chips, spills, and food left on the floor. Oh, this is my least favorite version of dirty, when food is being spilled on the floor and stuff. The other day, we literally found pepperoni on the floor where they had been eating pizza. And when we asked whose it was, so we could ask them to clean it, they both denied it. One day, I came back from the library completely exhausted, and she was using all the hobs again while Jay was lying on the couch barefoot and being loud. I didn't say anything at first and just tried to make something to eat, but she didn't move anything so I could use the stove. She looked at me and then just kept talking to her boyfriend. Eventually, I asked her to tell me when she'd be done. About an hour later, I went back into the kitchen and her stuff was all over the counter. The hob was dirty and the whole area was messy. I was too tired to argue, so I just cooked anyway. Shit like this is my biggest pet peeve. Shit like this is the reason why I don't know if I could be in another like roommate situation with someone who isn't my partner. Because that would like I love having a kitchen to myself. I'm not gonna lie. I love not having to use the kitchen to, or not having to worry about like what time I can use the kitchen, you know, because somebody's in it. About an hour later, I went back into the kitchen and her stuff was all over the counter. The hob was dirty and the whole area was messy. I was too tired to argue, so I just cooked anyway. While I was cooking, two of my other roommates came in and we started talking about the situation. One of them noticed sticky spills on the floor that looked like juice that formed a trail leading to her room. We're not this dirty, are we? No. No. Ew. While I was cooking, two of my other roommates came in and we started talking about, oh, no, sorry. After I finished cooking, she came back into the kitchen. So I asked if she knew what the mess was on the floor. She acted completely clueless and said it might be because someone's feet are really sweaty. That's not how that works. Sweat disintegrates on the floor. It evaporates on the floor, girl. That's not how that works. I was honestly so baffled by the response that I just gave up. At this point, it feels like her boyfriend basically lives here. They take over the kitchen for hours and they keep leaving messes everywhere while denying it. What are my flatmates and I supposed to do in this situation? Girl, kick her out. Kick her out. First of all, this is university accommodation, girl. You need to go to the RA and be like, listen, this is what's tea. We don't know. Okay, this guy on Tinder, we'll call him Jay. Okay, is Jay, does he live on campus? Because it really can be as easy as y'all ganging up on that one roommate with the boyfriend, going to an RA and being like, okay, so there is a dude that we don't know living at our complex, or in our unit. Like, can you tell her to kick him out? What are the options? What can we do? Like, y'all need to just gang up on her. But before you do that, you probably should have a intervention and be like, listen, we know that this guy that you just met, you're really intimate with him, and you know, you're really into him and you love him and you want to spend all your time with him, but like, he is very much so in the way of our living situation here in this unit. So either you and him be more considerate of the shared spaces, or y'all might have to leave. Like, have that conversation with her first, then bring it to the RA, because if this is university accommodation, I don't even know if Jay's supposed to be there to begin with. I don't even know if Jay should exist in this situation where he is living on university accommodated apartments, in my humblest opinion. But also, like, dang, like the roommate that broke up with her boyfriend of 3 years and hopping into another relationship. I'm not one to judge because I've done this before, but not the move. We need to work on being single and being alone for a minute before we go ahead and try and date someone else. Notify the appropriate individuals about an unauthorized tenant and let them deal with it. Exactly. Shut it down. When is your boyfriend leaving? He's not staying here. Exactly. And then, like, okay, another thing you could do, a little bit more passive aggressive, you could say, okay, so if he's living with us, he's going to also have to pay rent too. So if he's not going to pay rent, then we're going to have to kick him out. And if you want to go with him, you can. You could do that. You could do that. The fact that it is University accommodations works in your favor. They have strict rules, and you can involve whoever your resident advisor or similar person is to have the guy removed. It may poison the well with your roommate, but having her move out might be in everyone's favor. It most definitely will be in everyone's favor. Have one last conversation with her as a group, 3 against 1. Prepare what you want to say in advance. Don't hold back, don't back down, and practice having a backbone. You can set limits such as no more than 2 overnights a week, and she must notify the rest of you by text. No making out in common areas, limiting kitchen time to set an amount. You're not being unreasonable, and her advances to your other roommate are grounds enough to have her trade flats. Yeah, that's weird. There's more to life than romance, folks. More to life. Okay, so my roommate of 1 month wanted me to do therapy with him as a condition of inviting his friends over to the apartment. Okay. All right. So let's read the story and then we'll read the text, okay? TLDR, met someone who I thought was a good match, but ended up not being a match in the most alarming way. He wanted me to do therapy with him and would say and do the most bizarre things. Sharing this in celebration of him finally moving out. A couple months ago, I sublet the spare room in my NYC apartment to someone, 34 male, I met on Reddit. That's probably not the place you want to meet someone, but okay. Okay. Problems started almost immediately after he moved in. One of the main issues was that he arrived with a significant amount of shared space items that he never mentioned before. Not only did they not fit in the apartment, but he also began rearranging things and moving any items and furniture without asking. He started directing where things in the apartment should go and placing decorative objects in areas of practical spaces. The breaking point for me was when he placed a tray of several large vintage crystal decanters and wine glasses directly on the center of the small kitchen island as decoration. This is in NYC and the island is... I'm sorry, but this is in NYC. Tell me all I need to know. If you live in New York City, you're living in a shoebox. This is like my dining area right now, or like the square that I'm in is basically your whole apartment. But like the dining area that I'm in right now, that's your whole apartment. And my dining area is like really, really small. Yeah, they got you living like cellmates in New York City. And the island where I cook. The decanters were large, fragile, and took up most of the space. I told him that while they were beautiful, they couldn't stay there because I need the counter space. This upset him quite a lot and led to a series of increasingly intense conversations about fairness, communication, and our relationship as roommates between us. During one of these discussions, he asked if I would be willing to go to therapy with him. Dude, I don't know you enough to want to go to therapy. The fuck? At this point, he had lived in the apartment for barely a month. To say I was shocked, shooketh, and gagged. Not shocked, shooketh, and gagged would be an understatement of last year. But I kept a poker face and said I would be open to the idea if it helped resolve tensions, mostly hoping he wouldn't actually bring it up again. 15 minutes later, he returned back to the topic of therapy and asked me a follow-up question. He asked me if I had agreed to therapy because he suggested it or whether I would have independently thought of therapy myself. What? Of course you didn't think of therapy. He thought of it. And like, no offense, y'all don't know each other enough to be making therapy, like group therapy sessions together. We don't know each other enough. If anything, we should have done the group therapy before we moved in. Like, what? That made me come to the slow and scary realization about him. He is a person of extreme intensity who constantly analyzes, calculates questions, and interrogates every interaction. Conversations felt less like normal communication, but more like being examined under a microscope. This was also a source of our tensions as I look back on it. After the discussion, we spent the next 2 weeks mostly quiet, civil, but not socializing. Then Halloween weekend came around and a friend asked if they could come over to stay with me. I checked with my roommate first to make sure he was okay with it out of courtesy, despite the clear guest policies. This prompted the response in the screenshot. Okay, let's go to the response in the screenshot. Hi, my friend is asking to come stay in the apartment from 10:30 one Friday until Sunday morning. Is that okay with you? Hey, honestly, I don't know that's a good idea right now until we do therapy. I had a friend who was going to move from California next month to visit, but I had to her cancel her ticket until we get the energy of the apartment up before inviting people into the space. Bro, we're not doing therapy. I don't know you like that. And like where is this person from originally? Because crystal decanters sitting on an NYC apartment island is diabolical. I've never lived in NYC like that. And I even know what's up. Okay. I know that like you don't have a lot of space to work with. You got to make do with what you got. Like I see how those people be living in New York and it is a mess. Oh my God. I always say that if I were to ever live in New York, I'd have to be making boku dollars. That's how you'll know if I made it for real, for real, for real, for real, if I made it. If I'm like, guys, I'm moving to New York City. And even then, I'd probably move to like the like cheapest borough with enough space for me to exist in. Like, I'm not playing that. Absolutely not. I even compromised to him in return by telling him that she will exclusively stay in my bedroom, which has its own bathroom, so he won't be bothered by her presence. I plan to bring her water and food from the kitchen if need be. He still found a problem with it, claiming that I have control issues and that there was no point in asking him if I was going to do whatever I wanted to do in the apartment. The crazy thing is that I gave in and did therapy with him and regretfully regretted it. He exploded into bursts of rants in therapy, and the therapist did little to no help, claiming nobody is right or wrong. There was no reason for you guys to go to therapy. Y'all aren't even close like that. I distanced myself as far away as possible from him after, worried he would lash out to me. Some of the other bizarre, outrageous things he did. He posted on part of his Reddit apartment search that he prefers not to live with people who are on psychiatric meds. He also asked me if I was on psych meds when we met the first time and explained that he does not prefer to live with someone on psych meds. It seemed like he had a bad experience. I agreed with him, saying that while I respect people who take psych meds, I would prefer not to live with them if possible. A month into his move-in, I found a prescription bottles of escitalopram and other anxiety meds in his name lying around. Okay, that's interesting. That's weird. I don't know why like people being on medication would be weird to you, but because like wouldn't the medication make you feel good? I guess maybe if the concern is like if they're off their meds, how do they act? I don't know. While we were hanging out shortly after he moved, I once told him in passing, blah, blah, since I tend to be an introvert. He told me he actually didn't appreciate that I hadn't disclosed that I am an introvert when we met, and said that if he had known I was an introvert, he might have made different choices about moving in. When I asked what he meant by that, he said, well, I am 100% extrovert and I didn't want us to be passing ships in the night and expected this to be sort of a Golden Girl situation where we are close together. Okay, that's weird. Me. Well, I am sorry if you feel that this is something I should have announced to you, but that doesn't mean I won't spend time with you at all, but rather that I do need some time alone from time to time and with myself to recover and reflect. So if you would like to spend time and hang out with me like we are now, just tell me or ask and I can let you know if I'm free. I kid you not. He said, well, I'm not sure if I like that because I don't like to put myself in a position where I am being told no. What? We're all told no. Bro needs to live by himself. So if you have to work on an obligation or any other obligation, and if I ask you to drop whatever you are obligated to and hang out with me nonstop 24/7, are you saying that you will do it? Is that what you are also expecting me to do? While he did not answer yes, he did not answer me no, and had to think about the answer before diverting to another topic. I never truly understood his nature, as I had to distance myself from him. So please let me know if I missed something clearly obvious from him. Anyway, he finally moved out. Here's to hoping I won't have to do therapy with the next one. Stay safe out there. Oh my God, that is so crazy. It seems like this guy didn't want a roommate. It seems like they wanted like a platonic, intimate friendship, like a high key, a Golden Girls situation, as mentioned. 34 male. We're in our mid-30s acting this way? That's crazy. Okay. Well, I am not sure if I like that, because I don't like to put myself in a position of being told no. I'm dying. All right. I lived with a woman like this. The constant scrutiny of words I chose in semantic arguments got me so exhausted. That would exhaust me too. I lasted 2 months before I asked her to move out. I genuinely understand what you went through. She could never agree to disagree, constantly trying to get me to see her point of view. Sometimes we're not going to see other people's point of view, and that's okay. That is okay. We can be on the different sides of the spectrum as long as we can meet each other in the middle and respect each other. That is okay. And that's only for like, you know, like compatibility things. Like, I'm not talking about like serious shit like fascism or politics, you know. That would, like, I don't know if I could live with a conservative. That would be, that would not work. But still wouldn't accept that I didn't agree even when I could repeat back what she had said, which also was also mandatory before I could say my own points, if I ever was allowed to even talk. With people like this, it's not a conversation. Yeah, nobody has time for that. Like, we're roommates, we live together. I can't be this close to you, and I can't do semantic arguments. Violent racist roommate is genuinely starting to scare me. Oh my God. I didn't get the racism on camera, but best believe he was outside my door earlier, threatening to burn his effing N-word store down. Whoa. Was it, okay, was it the hard ER or was it the A? To some guy on the phone. It's not the first time he has been racist, so I told him he needs to leave if he's going to say that word. Racism isn't tolerated in the house. Immediately cuts me off and tells me to shut up a bunch, that I don't know what the F I'm talking about, and just repeated the word as aggressively as he could. He's having these conversations directly outside my door, constantly talking about threatening people and fighting and violence. Brings up POC in conversations just to disparage them. He blared Amazing Grace outside my door into the hallway, which to my understanding was written by a slave owner. I can't make this ish up. Girl, you need to move. You need to move. That's not, he's one of those groiper people. He's going to come for you next. Okay, you need to move ASAP. I can't have my female friend over who is brown. He said shit in front of her too and hit on her. Oh, see, no, girl, you need to move. He's because if he's talking that way, that's a hop, skip, and jump away from you being volatile. Called her a sexy ECT. If I were younger, you'd be in trouble. This is a 60-plus-year-old man, and I'm a female in my late 20s. My friend is 5 years younger than I am. I did just catch this audio clip, however, of him threatening a dog groomer that he was going to break into their house with an axe. Who says this shit? I'm going to serve him a notice to vacate immediately, but I won't lie. I'm a little fucking terrified of this dude. He yells, makes weird demonic noises. I could go on, but seeing as this is the second threat he's made on a human life today, I'm sufficiently effing rocked and scared of retaliation. I'm really trying not to get the police involved, though I'm feeling they wouldn't take what was said in this video lightly. You know, this would be actually like a really cute like plot line to a sitcom if there was like a 70-year-old man and like a 28-year-old woman living together, and they were just like platonic friends. Like, I don't know, it would be like Golden Girls meets Friends in a way. That would be cute, but Also, everyone would have to be chill, right? Like, he does not seem chill. I would leave, girl. Let's hear what he has to say. I don't think I can hear him. Does the volume work? Oh, sorry, guys. Does the volume work? Let me check to see if the volume works.
My mother stretched.
Okay, so the volume works. So I can't hear him all the way, but girl, I would leave. Like, if this is a random dude that you do not know, like you're not even mutuals with, and he's a lot older than you, girl, I would leave. One thing I'll never understand is someone threatening your life and you don't want to get the police involved. Crazy thoughts. Wasn't threatening me directly. It was a dog groomer, but I feel like he wanted me to hear it. My apologies. I read the post. Okay. How do you end up living with a 60-plus-year-old man? Welcome to Ontario. I'm a tad confused, OP. If you are a tenant to the landlord and he is your tenant, is he entitled to the standard notice of eviction? Given his behavior and that he poses an apparent threat to your safety, wouldn't you be entitled to evict him on a shorter notice than 3 months? That is true. Another thing OP can do is give her 30-day notice and start looking for another place and just tell this guy they're moving out. Make up some story about having to leave and stay with a sick parent or something. If this guy doesn't leave, it's no longer OP's problem. It's the homeowners. This, by the way, is why a lot of places say people can't sublease. Like, if he's talking this way and lashing out at the big old age of 60, I would move out. Absolutely. I would move in with your friend. Noticed a foul odor coming from my roommate's room and found this. Oh, no. This is nasty. To be fair, I used to have a bunch of cups lying around in my room until I switched to water gallons. Now I just have like a water gallon lying around in my room and I just drink it. That's gross. That floor is dirty. Ugh. Flat share anxieties advice. My flatmates, male 27 are strangers to me, female 24. I struggled to leave my room and actively avoid them. One flatmate I knew better moved out, male 25, and was replaced with another friend. Okay, I think this person is just asking for advice. When it comes to confronting issues within the flat, I have faced difficulties and resentment is building. It's the usual issues associated with lack of respect and unbalanced share of household chores, taking the bins out, cleaning all shared spaces. Never do they wipe the counters or filth after cooking or clean the floors or bathroom. I do it all. I enjoy cleaning, but I'm tired of the low standards they hold and finding I am getting more and more frustrated by it. They also are incredibly noise blind, slamming doors, stomping about the place at all hours. They also had visitors down for the weekend, 3 guys, and did so without making me aware. They all stayed here making a mess and a lot of noise. I always wait until they are done using the kitchen and orders to make my own meals in order to avoid small talk and awkward silences. One flatmate is away often. The other lives here full time. However, they are best friends. So when they are home, the dynamic makes me feel like an intruder in my own home. I also feel paranoid about being talked about, even though I am the quiet, friendly, respectful flatmate. I feel so draining to be switched on and live with strangers that are so self-centered. Does anyone have any advice on how to try and live more freely in the space I also pay for? Maybe have a sit down. Maybe have monthly sit downs with your roommates and ask, like, do a round table of asking them how they feel about living at the apartment, or air out any of their transgressions of living with each other. That way, it doesn't look like you are just ranting to them about the problems you have with them, but it also looks like, they have other issues that they might have with other roommates, or maybe they might have with you, but at least you'll be able to get it all out and then keep things on a schedule. The other option is just don't clean and let things get really nasty. And then eventually they're going to have to come in and wipe stuff down and do what they got to do. That's the next option. So I get not wanting to live in a dirty space, but frankly, you are a live-in maid mother. They know you will clean up their mess, so they don't bother trying. They don't respect you as a person. Yeah, you need to stop cleaning up after them and let those dishes pile up, but I'm pretty sure someone's going to clean them. If I were in that situation, I'd stop cleaning up after them and I'd look for another place to move to. Not always easy. They are not safe, and I hope you have a lock on your door for when they decide to have frat parties and other men staying over. Ew. Ugh. I learned to stop caring what others think of me. It only creates stress and anxiety, and I'm not in the business of causing my own unnecessary suffering, which is what happens when you constantly worry about what others think of you. They don't care what you think of them. I would try to work on those unhealthy thought processes to help bring you some peace in a crappy living situation. Wish I had better advice. No, I agree. I think that, you just got to stop cleaning up after these people. They don't really seem like respectful individuals, so I would just stop cleaning up after them. This is how my brother leaves the bathroom. Oh God, I can't show that. I was just so disgusted with what I saw. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know if I could live with roommates right now. Like, I live with my partner right now, but like, I don't know if I could live with roommates outside of the roommates I had previously. I could live with them again, but I would not be able to live with like random people I don't know. So yeah, I think I'm done here. The unintentional offensive race change. I'm looking at Reddit. Sorry, guys, but I found this. Top character tropes, hated meta trope, the unintentional offensive race change. Well, he's not supposed to be. He's not supposed to be a black Targaryen? Girl, I guess. Corlys Velaryon and his family were changed from white in the Fire and Blood book to black in the House of the Dragon adaptation. On the surface, a good representation of Corlys is the richest man in the Seven Kingdoms and a powerful but self-made lord. However, Corlys' story involves his daughter-in-law trying to pass off her bastard son as his heirs, disregarding his daughter and granddaughters as potential heirs, cheating on his wife, and putting his bastard son over legitimate granddaughters, and losing everything as he tries to climb the social ladder. It also creates a lot of unnecessary fandom discourse, despite the only change to his character being his skin color. Yeah, my whole opinion on race swapping in like 2026 is, at this point, if it's not necessary, then don't do it. But also at the same time, if the actor just kind of fits the role for the character, regardless of their race, I don't really see a problem with it at all. You know what I mean? Usually the type of people who are super angry about like race swapping are already down a certain pipeline anyway. But like, for example, that really pretty Indian girl in Mean Girls the musical. Shout out for the brown girls representation. I love it. Her, Avantika, she is so beautiful. Okay, so Avantika, there was talks about her playing Rapunzel and the Rapunzel live action, right? And almost immediately, like nothing was confirmed. It was just that she was going to play, like she was interested in playing Rapunzel in the Rapunzel live action movie. That was it. That was it, right? And almost immediately, there were people coming in like, "Oh, why would they do that? This is the problem with woke culture. They want to race bend everything. What do you want Sabrina Carpenter to play Princess Tiana?" Like all this dumb, like whack ass already debunked bullshit, right? And in my mind, I was like, "Girl, just make Princess Tiana, just make Rapunzel a white woman. Just make her a white girl. Just make her a white girl so that we don't have to deal with this nonsense." Because y'all are weird when it comes to certain race swaps, especially when it's attached to an IP that has a lot of nostalgia for you. A lot of y'all are freaking weird, okay? So I don't know. I also don't appreciate like when companies like Disney do the race swapping and then they don't protect the actors that they are swapping the race for. Like Halle Bailey was not protected at all when she was signed on to do The Little Mermaid, even though she was very much so qualified to be The Little Mermaid, in my humblest opinion. That live action wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. But she, as a singer, a vocalist, was 100% qualified for that role. And she kind of looks like a mermaid in the face. She has this very like alien, ethereal like beauty to her that like you would like if you lived under the sea, you would probably see um um someone like Halle Bailey as a mermaid, right? But I remember all the controversies behind that, and it just felt like Disney kind of threw her to the wolves. I remember people on Twitter were like, "Here, I fixed it," and they made like a white Little Mermaid. And then I remember that weird girl from the UK who was saying that Halle Bailey playing the Little Mermaid was racist towards redhead white people. And I was like, girl, at this point, just don't race bend people. Don't race. If y'all are going to act like this, don't race bend. But you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Is that they do, then you have movies and then you have shows where they don't race swap, right? Or like the video game. I'm thinking about the video game in Louisiana Bayou, video game set in the Louisiana Bayou, South of Midnight. So the game called South of Midnight came out, right? And then you got losers like Asmongold over here saying this is too woke. even though this is an original character, right? This is an original character, an original game, and because the character being played is a black girl, right? Now it's too woke. Like, you can't win for losing. And these are the same people who are like, well, why are you race swapping everything? Why can't you come out with original characters? Like, it's getting more and more apparent now what you're trying to say. You just don't want to see black people in your media and entertainment. You don't want to see brown people in your media entertainment, and it shows. Okay, it shows. And folks are weird for that. They're very weird for that. But like, as far as race swapping goes, I don't know. I'm here for it. Like, for example, it works for Bridgerton. That because Bridgerton is, that's Shonda Rhimes, and that demographic isn't on a certain pipeline. Like Asmongold isn't watching Bridgerton, I guess is a way to put it. But I just don't want to see like bullying of young actresses and actors of color for a race swap. Especially if they are of darker skin, because it can get really nasty for no reason. And like people like forget that, the original title that came out still exists. So if you don't like the race swap of like maybe your favorite white character being turned black, then you can just watch the old movie or read the old comic. Like, you will be okay. But I think a lot of it comes from people being angry when they when they realize that they can't see themselves in like a movie or in an intellectual property, like I think people start to panic. But then I think those same people forget that there have been tons of like Americans and non-white folks that constantly are being shoved movies down their throat where they cannot see themselves in any of the characters whatsoever, but we're demanded to, you know, relate to proxy white guy in a proxy mid-tier movie, you know? But anyway, I think that's all I got for y'all today. I told you this Reddit Story Sunday would be pretty short. We're gonna keep things a little bit longer next time. Perhaps. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Reddit Story Sunday. And I will be sure to see you this Tuesday, okay? I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. And you have a great rest of your week. We are in daylight savings time now. I woke up super, super late due to daylight savings. I did not like that. But we are in daylight savings time now. So get ready. Get ready. The days are going to be longer. All right, guys. Love you all. Take care. Bye.